What's up, guys? Hey, welcome to another podcast / video of Mark Your Health. Go check me out on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatnot. We have a special guest. Man, I owe this guy so much of my faith. He's kind of like the building block, the fatherhood, the brother. He starts his own church in the Winter Garden. Man, he invested in me. He believed in me to build his first worship team. Super encouraged. But this guy is a guy that you want to have in your corner, cheering you on at anything and everything. But let's get it for Wes Beacham.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Hey,
thank you so much, bro. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I was just talking to a friend of mine, and he's like, "Who's Mark Calantes? Why are you doing a thing with Mark?" I'm like, "You don't remember Mark? Mark went to SCU. I told you about him. This is the guy that we wouldn't have our worship band without him. Like,
yeah.
This guy we now have hired. He wouldn't be at our church if it wasn't for you.
Oh, man.
Because you invited a couple of guys, and those guys came,
yeah.
and then Chris Lamb came, and this is Chris Lamb's best friend, and so." Anyways, our first full-time staff hire came from you because I met you.
Man, appreciate it. Yeah, man. I even the students that I taught at OCP, the seniors, man, they're finishing.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, this is so cool. But shout out to Schmidt, because without Schmidt, I wouldn't be here as well.
Yeah, awesome.
I'll be golfing with him too. So if you want to join,
I'm guessing you playing with him today?
Thursday.
You probably are gonna kill him, aren't you?
Oh yeah,
of course you are.
But man, so we have Wes. Let's just take it back to like the beginning. You were doing ministry in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
In Duval.
904. 904.
Tell us that experience was like youth ministry, like in your path. Like, how did you even come to Christ? Like, what was that like?
Well, I met you when you were probably 15, right? 15 or 16.
Yeah, 10th grade.
Well, when I was 15, I met my youth pastor, and I'm so thankful for him, because if it wasn't for him, then I wouldn't be here today. But he really linked up with me the way that I linked up with you, and he kind of taught me the model of linking up with people. But even 11 years prior to that, I gave my life to Christ at a young age. I was 5 or 6, 7. I was young. I was at a chapel at a private school like you went to. I gave my life to Christ. Fast forward, I meet my youth pastor at 15. And I'm like, I am hanging out with this guy every day. He's a golfer. Yeah. He's killing me at golf. He's good at basketball. He's good at baseball. Any kind of sport, this guy could kill at that. So I just hung out with him. 15, I started hanging out with him. He'd take me to a summer camp. And when I get to summer camp, his best friend is the camp speaker, and he's saying stuff like, "We need some guys to take their place. We need some guys to fill the void. We need some guys that they're gonna take the next generation to the next generation." So I did it at 15 years old. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a youth pastor." 16 years old, I'm with my youth pastor still. 17 years old, I'm with my youth pastor. 18, it's time I had to pick a college. Yeah. And my youth pastor says, "You need to go where I went." And I went to my dad. I'm like, "Hey, Dad, I want to go where he went." And my dad's like, "You ain't going there. You're going where I tell you to go." Yeah. And I had to fight with my dad all summer long, but eventually he let me go to Baptist Bible College, Springfield, Missouri. And I went there because my youth pastor went there. I'm there, and I'm trucking through college, my freshman year, my sophomore year, my junior year. The guy that I met at camp when I was 15 that did the camp, that did that message about we need people to fill a void, we need some guys to take the next generation to the next generation, he's at the college. And I run with him for a year and a half. I graduate from college, and this guy takes on a church in Jacksonville, Florida, and that's my first job. Wow. I go right from college. I literally get in my Ford Explorer, I pack it out, I graduate, I drive to Jacksonville, Florida, and unload my truck. And that very next Monday, I get on an airplane and I fly to the Bahamas to go do a mission trip with a bunch of students. Wow. And so that's 2000. I graduated high school in 2000. College 2004, and I'm at a job the day after I graduate. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. And what position was it?
I
did youth ministry there, just junior high.
So I
did only junior high ministry, and they had a private school. I also taught in the private school. Okay. I was a terrible teacher. Like I was trash as a teacher. Yeah. But I knew how to love students. Right. And so as a youth pastor, I could do that a lot better than I wouldn't hire you to be a teacher. Yeah. But to be a youth pastor, I'm in, like I'm your guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then just from there, you just kind of just did the veins and just
year 1, junior high only. Year 2, junior high and senior high. Year 3, again, junior high and senior high, did both of them. We had a few kids in our youth group, maybe 15 kids in our youth when we first started. and grew that to 80 kids in 9 months. Then we took on a high school ministry, and they had about 5 kids, and we grew that to 75 kids. Wow. Took 150 kids to camp the next summer, and we were just reaching kids. Kids were getting saved, and we kind of just kept on grinding, and if they had a pulse, we would get them in our youth group. Yeah. And so we had football players, cheerleaders. So we did that for 3 years, and about 3 years into that journey, God was saying, hey, it's time to go to the next season. And through a series of circumstances, about at year 3.5 mark, in 2007, we moved to Orlando, Florida, which is where I became a youth pastor at a Baptist church, and where I eventually met you at.
So how was that transition like? Like, were you kind of grounded as a youth pastor from Jacksonville to to OBC?
Jacksonville was awesome. Jacksonville.
What was the most challenging part just in the beginning?
The hardest part is leaving. It's telling people, hey, I love you guys. I'm for you guys. I'm with you. Like, I'm gonna be here with you guys whenever you need me. Just saying, hey, deuces, I'm going somewhere else. That is the hardest. I actually had to resign on my birthday.
Wow.
Miserable.
Dang.
And then I had to let them know because things were rolling, and then my wife was pregnant. we had just remodeled our bathroom. We put a new roof on our house. Things were so set in Jacksonville. We loved where we lived. We were 15 minutes from the beach. Yeah. Great restaurants. I had a motorcycle. I had a jet ski. All things that were just so close to my house. I could ride my motorcycle here. I could ride my jet ski here. Yeah. And I was basically leaving all that to tell these kids, hey, I love you guys, but I gotta go. And I told them on my birthday, July 28th, and 2 months later, I'm in Orlando, Florida.
Dang.
The hardest part by far was just telling kids, hey, somebody else is gonna pick up where I've left off at, and that was hard. Just thinking about it now makes me a little bit sick about it. Thinking about it. Thanks for bringing that up.
That's why I'm here, man. I'm trying to get deep.
Yeah.
But moving to OBC, what was that transition like? What was the ministry when you came in? Was it healthy?
When we had came to OBC, they had right when we got there, they had 6 youth pastors in 10 years. And I was like, oh man, this is a disaster. And it was a gross room. It was 2 rooms, but it was just filthy and stuff was everywhere. It was unorganized. I think there was 2 or 3 leaders. There might have been 20 kids, maybe 15 or 20 kids. And lots of potential, but just nothing really going on. And so we got there, and I thought to myself, where do we start at? And for us, very week 1, all we did was cleaned up. We literally got a broom and got the trash and got rid of the trash. And what a healthy church, things were moving in a great direction. A lot of good things going for that church, but the youth group just wasn't as good as really the Sunday morning. It wasn't really as good as the health of the church. It was one of the weakest things of the church. And so I was like, man, we got to help bring some life into this thing. And so, man, the first thing we did was just clean the place up. And we had a big vision. And there was 2 separate rooms. Our big vision when we walked in was like, man, we're going to tear that wall down. So we came in week 1. We thought, there's nobody here. But we knew at week 70 or a year and a half or maybe at the year mark, we were going to tear this wall down. And we didn't know how long it was going to take us to get there, but we just knew that wall has to go down. And the kids that were there that had been there for 4 or 5 years told us this: everyone says they're going to tear this wall down. Everyone says, and I'm like, oh, great. I'm like, dang it. I'm like, I'm going to be the guy like all the other guys who can't tear the wall down. But I just knew that with the health of the church, that this youth ministry should be so much bigger and so much more healthier and such a better community that I was like, we're going to go for it. That wall's going to come down. And so fast forward, we get in there and they had these theater, you go to movie theaters, bolt down, kind of little rock. They had those chairs. They had about 20 of those bolts in the ground. So week 2 comes in and I tell one of my guys, one of the volunteers, I say, hey, I want these chairs gone this weekend. Whatever we got to do, let's get rid of them because we're going to add so many more other chairs. It's going to look silly to have 20 chairs bolted to the ground. And so, man, we unbolted those chairs, and I'm glad we did because the very next week we had 30 kids. A few weeks later, a few months later, we had 50 kids. A few months later, we had 60 kids. And a few months later, we had 80 kids. A few months later, we had 90 kids. And it just kind of trickled up. And we got there in August. We got there in September, October-ish in 2007. I can't remember the exact month. But in May, we went from 20 kids, 30 kids, to 118 kids in 8 months. And it was awesome. I was like, this is going to be... And we tore that wall down that summer. That's awesome. That summer, me, a kid named Jordan Brown, and a kid named, his brother named Jake, another guy, Adam Harris, and myself and a few adults, we tore that wall down that
That's
summer.
amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool to hear the story because I was there with Schmidt, and Schmidt kind of just redid what you did just in today's era.
And he killed it, by the way.
Oh my God.
I go back and I look now and I
Yeah.
see some of the transitions that he's made, and
Yeah.
everyone has to be able to make their mark. Like everyone
Yeah.
wants to leave a
Hey,
mark, and make
come
their
on.
mark, and what he did when I go there now, I'm like, man, the vision is clear. The Bible says in Scripture, like, hey, see the vision, write it down, and say it. And when you walk into their youth ministry now, you know their heartbeat, you know their mission, their vision, you know the purpose, you know what they're gonna do. And I love that. I love what he's done with the space.
I always tell Kayla and I were like, man, I feel like we got the best out of Wes. You know,
Yeah.
like, we really got the best. You know, before that transition. You know, and that just spoke volume in my life. Like, we're super grateful for you.
Sometimes I get the video of your baptism, and I just love that. That was a fun season. I remember the first day I met you, I thought,
Yeah.
here comes this kid, just a golfer kid.
Yeah.
And
that's what I thought in my head.
Yeah, and you were so much more than that. And I thought, man, he's more than just this golfer kid. And the next thing I know, life change and salvation and baptism and plugging in and being the leader that you became in that youth ministry. So thankful for that.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because during middle school, I always said to myself, I'm more than a golfer. That's why I quit. I could have been probably more than I was because I was judging myself of, man, golf isn't cool. It's for geeks. It's for nerds. I picked up lacrosse. You know, I look physical, but I was still, 90 pounds, 4'10". So
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome you say that.
Come on, you ain't 90 pounds no more.
No more, baby. Come on.
Big swole.
Come on, I'm stepping on stage.
You look good, bro. You look good.
But yeah, I love it. I'm not doing any. I don't know what else. I was gonna do no sweets, but I was like, I can't.
I'm on
I love Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, come on. Krispy Kreme is from heaven. When we get to heaven, they're gonna be serving Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
I'm a big caffeine person.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, not a caffeine-aholic, but I'm a caffeine guy in the morning. No breakfast and lunch and dinner. And I work out 3 to 4 days a week. But right now I'm in a 21-day fast.
Okay.
And so I'm on no sugar, no meat. I'm really just fruits, vegetables, and water. Yeah. And this right here is herbal tea. So I'm sipping herbal tea for the last 18 days. It ends on Saturday.
That's good.
But man, all those things, what you put in really does determine what kind of output you have. And so I'm proud of you for doing the fast, and you feel better, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like at Olive Garden, like free wine tasting, I was like, man, I'm dying a little bit, but it's like I can live without it. And the fact that I'm doing this, it's inspired my friend to like, hey, I'm not gonna drink or smoke either. And we're like in a really tight community, and this community, I feel like it's so different because we're accepting our friends around us, and it's like we can't be mad if they call them BS on us.
Yeah.
It's just like, boom, okay, you're fine, but I know where you're going to go if I call you out on this.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so do you usually fast like in the morning?
Once a year.
After?
Oh yes, I always fast breakfast. And
yeah.
the reason why I do that, I feel like it just gives me, and it's not every single day, but it's probably 4 or 5 days a week that I do that. But I usually have breakfast with my family on Saturdays. But Monday through Friday, unless I have an appointment, I'm typically not eating breakfast. And for me, I'm all about moderation, and I'm not like, I don't do it for anything super. It's not a spiritual thing or religious thing. It's just like for me, like I just wake up and I get going and I get cruising and I'm working fast. I think I feel like my best output, it comes in the morning time.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm usually amped up and ready to go. I wake up at 6 a.m. During today I woke up at 5:30 and like I'm just moving. So if I get moving so fast, like I have time for breakfast, but I'm like a cup of coffee.
Yeah, get pushed through.
And it's like I'm not like, oh gosh, I'm hungry. But by 11:30, I'm ready to go eat lunch, and it's like I need the fuel to get through the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
And I look at it, food as fuel.
Yeah, food is fuel. Like,
mainly.
Is your wife the same way? Like she gets up, or she's like?
No, she does. She's a breakfast person. Yeah. Like she enjoys breakfast. Yeah. And for me, like I've never loved it. I grew up with 6 siblings. Right. I didn't say that yet, but like we didn't have a lot of money, so like. Like there wasn't, I don't remember breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was like, yo, eat when you get to eat, you know? Yeah. So I didn't have a lot of breakfast growing up as a kid, and just because we were running fast paced like the rest of America. And so she likes breakfast. On Saturday, she likes to cook breakfast. when we wake up this morning, my wife's like, "Hey, you guys grab breakfast, grab breakfast." If my kids don't have breakfast when they're with me, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah. They're ready to jam out to carpool karaoke.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
Like,
yeah.
Dad put on live, but we on.
Yeah, they're going hard in the morning. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love watching stars. I was watching Judah backflipping, and it's like, dude, I can't believe you guys have twins.
I can't.
Like, what was that like? Because you guys were chilling with Hope. Like,
we love.
I had Hope as a like. I forgot Hope was in my class.
Yeah.
Like, she's so chill and such a great leader. But like having twins.
We were loving life.
What
bro.
was it?
One kid, it was like easy.
Yeah. And then
2 kids, we're like, we got this. We still got this. Because right now, when you have 2 kids, it's man on man. Like, I like man on man. I don't like zone. I'd much rather play man to man any day of the week. Well, when we had twins come along, I was like, you know, and I feel like maybe some reason why I'm on this podcast is because like we've been able to tackle different areas of life.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, we can't tackle this. Like, this is gonna tackle us.
Right.
And so I remember having like I'm not a super emotional person, but I remember having those twins, and I remember being like sinking into like just a level of discouragement where I'm like, God, I can't do this. Like, I want to change the world. And now people ask me all the time, like, could you imagine what it would be like to change the world without them? And the answer is no. Like, they really do bring a level of joy to us that really comes from God, but they really just bring a level of challenges. I like challenge. I mean, you like challenges. I mean, I see you golfing and see you working out, like doing muscle ups, all those things. Like, we love everything we do. You and I, we love challenges. The people you have on your podcast, the transformations that they all have had. I've watched different. I know different ones. And like, all of them have said, "Oh, that's a challenge. Let's go for it." And so when we had the twins, at first I was like, "Oh man, I can't survive." And then I was like, "Let's get this." Yeah. And I was like, another challenge. And so now that they're 6. I forget what it was like. I forget how hard it was at 6 months.
That's great.
In 6 days.
That's great.
And so I'm just thankful for that. Like, now we crush it with them. Like, and if God gives us 2 more, we're done having kids. But if God gives us 5 more, we're gonna crush it with them because He, like you said, He graces us with the power and the presence to do all that stuff. And so I always said to my church and whoever I'm with, like, I want all that God has for me. Yeah. And if God wants to give me more, then I'm gonna take it, and He's gonna resource me. He's gonna help me to accomplish it. And so I'm all about going harder and going further if he wants me to. And so that was a challenge unlike any other challenge I've ever faced. And did we have those twins like 6 months? They were 6 months old when we launched the church. So I was like, God, I cannot believe this. Yeah. But we were committed, and we were faithful, and He was faithful, and we just went in. We just went in.
Well, what was like the transition to Winter Garden? You know, what was the land like? What was the church history? I mean, we shared it one-on-one, but
so we were in Orlando, and we did 8 years there.
Yeah.
And we were just faithful, and the pastor there was like, "Hey, do family ministry and do children." So we had everything 40 years of age down to 0 to 40. And there was another guy there. He led a different level of people, and so we were able to bring in people like Schmidt and have them take over, and Dustin Schneider was there for a season, and a handful of guys that you and I, we both know, mutual friends, and we kind of just got them all in this different spaces, and we were able to hire people, which was kind of cool to bring in people and give them more leadership. And you know, whenever you leave a place, God has something prepared to follow you with. And so you think, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Whenever I left Jacksonville, God had somebody there, a guy by the name of Scooter, and he did a great job with it. And then when we left here, the Schmitz.
That's not Justin Bieber's guy, right? No.
Yeah, no, different guy. Totally different guy, but same thing.
Yeah.
So we just all have these times where we have to leave, and God's got something better following. And so we were able to do that. I went to my father-in-law, my pastor was like, "Hey, we're going to launch this church." And he said, "What do you need?" And he began to resources with people. And so they allowed us to take 20 people from this church out to Winter Garden. We didn't really know anybody out here. We just knew that it was a fast-growing area. It's one of the fastest-growing areas in Central Florida. And of all the permits pulled in Central Florida, 51% of them last year were pulled in Winter Garden. So there's buildings on buildings on buildings, commercial, real estate. And things were growing, and there had been 50 churches started in over the course of 10 years, and 40 of them were shut down.
Wow.
So I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I feel like there's people that are there who need to know about Jesus, and God's saying to go, and so we were going. So we didn't know anybody there, but we had people going with us. which, I mean, you know as well as I know, like, you gotta have people to go with you. Like, there's an African proverb that I always say, like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you have to go together. You got to go together. And so we had 20 people with us, and we knew that. We knew the space. We were gonna be able to rent a space. And we went from 20 people to about 35 people. Then we started meeting people out here, and we were able to almost double the team that was going with us. And then we called you and said, hey, I know you're at college, but can you come down and help us with this? And another guy, Nick, I was like, hey, can you guys come down? And then you guys helped build this. You helped build this band, and next thing you know, we got 40, 45 people, and we're able to crush this thing. We're able to start with incredible things. So a lot of churches that came and died. And we knew we had to have a team, we had to have resources, so we went out and raised some money. We had to raise $100,000, and we just asked everybody we can ask, and they gave, and we're thankful for that. And we asked people to go with us, and they did. And so we had people, and we had resources, and we had a vision from God. And I feel like if you're gonna do something in life that's significant, if you're gonna leave a mark, you gotta have a vision, and you gotta have resource it, and you gotta have some people around you to help you accomplish it. And so that's what we had.
To reach people, like you have your core, but what is it like to reach people? Like, is it just going in the community, having coffee, and like, what is it like promoting a church? You know?
Promoting a church is like any other business. You got to go where the people are at. I think so many times we didn't have a building. We were renting a space. When you have a building, people drive by, and some of the best marketing is just seeing a sign when you drive by. I went and tried a new restaurant out yesterday because I saw the sign. Well, there's no signs for us. So going into a church, when we launched this church, we bought a billboard. We're like, we had a billboard on Highway 50 saying, hey, there's a life-giving church coming to this area. We had to do radio advertisement, and that was $3,000. The billboard was $3,000. We had to send out 40,000 flyers. That was $8,000. Like, we had to go to the YMCA and say, hey, we want to put signs up here. And we had to went to the football school, and we put up banners there. And we went to the YMCA and put our logos on the back of jerseys. I mean, we bought those, you know, when you wait for those bus benches? We had Life Giving Church coming on September 24th, 2015. It was everywhere you could think. We tried to put our name. Awesome. We bought a truck, and we put Hope Church over this F-250. Like, you got to just everywhere you go. I mean, I'm wearing the brand today. Like, everywhere we go, we put our logo as many places as we possibly could put it. And we have hats, and we have T-shirts, and we're building a store right now. We're doing new socks, and we're gonna be doing shorts, and we're just coffee mugs, and anywhere you can put a logo, we try to put a logo. Everywhere except for our body, which we're interested. Like, if you know anybody wants to put Hope Church on their body,
sign me up.
Let's do it.
Sign me up.
Let's go. We wanted to put our brand everywhere, and we wanted to go where the people were going. Was the Hope name came from your daughter, or was just that something you have hope for the city? No, for us, it was pretty simple focus. That we came from a church that had started an organization called World Hope. And they were doing international stuff, and there was nothing domestic. And that was kind of the thing that was one kind of the stirrings in my heart to go launch a church. I'm like, we're doing so much global, but we got to do something local. And I feel like if we can do things that are local, it can resource the global. And if we're doing things global, it should complement, or it should work really, really well with the domestic. And so I thought, man, that's a name. And you said it. So that was one, was that there was already a household name for us with our family of churches. And the second thing is, like, man, we had hope for the city. Like, we know this. Like, there's a saying: you can go so long without food, you can go so long without water, you can go so long without oxygen, but you can't go a second without hope. And I just thought to myself, if people are gonna make it in our world today, they gotta have hope. And I thought, man, even if they don't connect to God right away or at our church, they would know that there's a place where they could find hope if they're looking for it.
I love that, because I think we were talking in the beginning. It's like, I want to go as far, like, I want to reach people. I think you said it, like, as close as Seth. And I was like, man, what is that? What is that like? Is that kind of gray? Have you kind of defined that, like, a little bit more?
That's good. No, for us, we always say this, like, we'll do anything short of sin to reach people. We were just willing to go wherever they're at. So remember, we were going to places where it's like, I don't know if pastors should go there. Like, I don't know if people, I don't know if churches belong, there. They shouldn't be at the city square doing this, or they shouldn't be out at this time of the day, and they shouldn't put their logo on the back of that. And so for us, I mean, it was really clear for us, like, we were going to err on the side of on loving people. I think when you read the Bibles and read the scriptures, Jesus hung out with people that don't really look like us.
Yeah.
And they didn't have shirts, khaki pants, shirts tucked in with the Bible. Like they just didn't look like that. And they had, so we've gone to places, I started the first year of the church, I did nothing physical.
Yeah.
I hated it. I walked into a CrossFit gym, and it's the least likely place for a pastor to be at. Like people are like, what are you doing? Every time I was like, man, what if pastors don't go to CrossFit gyms? I'm like, no, we have to work out physically and mentally the same way you do. And so we were just going anywhere we possibly could go. Right. And probably we have erred on the side of, we'll try it at least once, and if it doesn't fit or it doesn't feel right, maybe we won't stay. I mean, we were going to birthday parties that we may or may not should have been at, and we were going to things that we've never experienced before. And like, we're just gonna try to go where we want to go where people are at.
That's right.
And people aren't always in church. Yeah. And so we see at our church all the time, like there's more people in Walmart on Sunday morning than there are in church. Yeah. And until that switches, we're gonna keep on crushing it.
Man, that's crazy, because that's the way I think sometimes about the gym. I look at people in the gym, it's like all different sizes, all different ethnicities. Man, this is my church. This is my ministry. I don't need to be under a church organization, which I have been. I was like, I don't think I can be a really good youth pastor and have great pastor kids. Like, I feel like I would fail in both. Yeah. I'd rather have my kids be exposed and the way I think I, should raise them and, give them opportunities or whatnot. But
yeah, because I think the church is not, I believe in the local church. Yeah. But I believe you and I are the local church, and exactly. I'm not attracted to an address. I don't think an address. For us, we meet at 100 Windermere Road, and I don't think that's the end game. So simple. Yeah.
That's so good.
The end game for us is, we want to connect to people where they're at, and if they get to where we are on Sunday mornings, then awesome. But if they don't, then we'll just go with that. I had a breakfast this morning at 7 a.m. and he was just saying, man, we find it so much easier to do church in our house on a computer, and I think you can do church, but not do you need people to do community, which we're trying to build a community too. And so we realize we'll be a church for some people just online. But if they want community, then that's going to take a step out of the living room or out of the house. And so we're trying to build a church that's global, and that's national, and it's local. But we're trying to build a community that's local, and that people press with each other. They're able to hug each other and high five each other and have coffee with each other and ask questions about life and struggle together and rejoice together. It's what I would tell people, like, this is the reason why CrossFit works, because you struggle CrossFit works because you struggle so much with people, and nothing brings you closer like a struggle. Yeah. And so I believe church, we got to get better at this. Yeah. We got to be at a place where you can struggle at and you can just grind through life together with each other. And so that's kind of what we're trying to build in our city.
You have people from your church that go, like, on staff or on your team?
They go to
that you work out together, or? Yeah.
I have some leaders in our church that I work out with. It's weird, probably similar for you, but like when I first started CrossFit, I was like, man, I loved all the people. I have found now that as our church has grown and more people are coming, and I have found, like, I got to protect my mental health. Right. As much as I protect my physical health. Uh-huh. And now I feel like I now go to the gym now with just a handful of people. Mm-hmm. Because CrossFit is, it's 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 9:30, 10:30. And I used to be one of those guys, 8:30 class, or, 2:30 class, 1:30 class. And now where I work out at now, I just find myself going in at 2 p.m. And I go with a few leaders and kind of have conversations like we're having today. Like, how's life? How's marriage? How's your family? And it's really a sanctuary for my body. Right. And I miss the people aspects of it sometimes. But sometimes I like hopping on the rower for 500 meters or just get on the assault bike for,
just clearing out.
Yeah, it's like just a moment where God says, hey, you good? I'm really just talking to God, or I'll put a podcast in. Uh-huh. And it's so rude to go to the gym for me, my style of person, to put headphones on and go to the gym. And I'm so social. Yeah. But when I'm by myself, it's easy to put AirPods in and then just be chilling on a bro or a bike or push-ups, pull-ups, benching, whatever I'm doing that day. It's just nice for me to go there and have a moment by myself, catch a break.
So commuting, no headphones. Solo, your headphones?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've learned to go no headphones.
All the time?
All the time.
Yeah.
I just try to in tune with my brain. Even in the sauna, cause especially with my brain, I'm like, I might miss an opportunity.
Your brain's always going.
Oh man,
I follow you, so I know your mind is moving really fast.
Sundays, I'm not sure if you saw, I just posted up, like, I've been doing voice journals, and I just did one on Spotify, posted about no social media on Sunday. Man, it is tough.
Game changer.
Tough. I told my wife, can I do YouTube? Babe, what about 6? Can I go after 6? She's like, no, babe. I was like, man, but she's the real one. And that allowed her to say that to me.
That's huge.
Yeah, allowed
anything that you fast.
Yeah, man, it's tough.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
But the rewards are. So for me right now in this no caffeine, no sugar, no carb world, no meat, like I'm better for that. You know, I feel better.
Yeah.
I'm sleep. When you're not living on caffeine, you sleep so much better. Yeah. I'm sleeping good. Like I mean, right now I'm in a good rhythm. I'm preaching clear. I'm thinking clear. I'm loving clear. Yeah. I'm more in tune with the Holy Spirit. Like there's so many things that I'm able to get now that I wouldn't normally get if I was in this fast-paced, caffeine consuming season.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you're doing CrossFit, but I remember when you were a youth pastor, you did marathons.
Yeah, I was a runner.
Running.
I love running.
Yeah. So what was that like? Like from running, like you just did running. That's all you did.
That was it. I had a little setup in my garage.
Yeah.
I would bench. I could get up to 225 on chest, or I could curl this. I had up to 50 pounds in dumbbells. So
you got to get the preacher bicep.
I got the preacher bicep. I was chest, bis, and that was really it. Shoulders, sometimes abs. Like that was what I did. And so I did that, but then I ran. But I like running. The running was great for me because that allowed me to clear my mind, and I was able to receive words from God in that season. And I think there's something about being outside. I see you work outside sometimes. Yeah. There is something about being outside that is so healthy. Vitamin D is so healthy. And you're out there. We were created in a garden. And we find ourselves trapped up in buildings. And it's like, man, if we get back out in the gardens and get back in the, like I love mowing my lawn. Yeah. But I'll tell you this, the fact about running was we're at my house today recording this, and when you come up there's a hill.
Yeah.
That's why I quit running.
Yeah,
I was like, no, thank you. I will not run. Like, I'm not gonna finish my races on that hill. And so I got here and I started. I did nothing for a year. Yeah. Which was so bad. And if you're a business owner watching this, or you're a high level leader, you got to spend time on your physical body. It's attached to your mental health. And
do you think that's the core? That's the beginning.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. Like I think the Bible says that you need to love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, all your strength. You need all 4 of them. Yeah. We became members of the YMCA, and I love the YMCA is heart, mind, and soul. Yeah. And as a church, we're able to help them with the soul part and the mind part, but they do the body part of it, and we help them with the spiritual part of it. It's a great partnership. We talked about collaboration just a few moments ago. Like we collab with the YMCA because we are their spiritual arm. Yeah. They can't do that. Just like I can't be the workout guy, the physical help. So we did nothing for a year, and then we got into CrossFit, and it was one of the hardest things we've ever done. It's fast paced.
You did some small events, right?
Yeah, I did. I ended up doing an event. They're called competitions. Yeah. And it was very fun. It was a 3 event. They run 3 events, and our first event we were trash at. Yeah. Mainly because of me, I couldn't do what's called an overhead squat. Ooh. And the mobility's hard. And I really hurt us on that. And then we came in first place in another event. We came in top 3 in another event, and it wasn't enough to get us in the running. But then after that, it was such a long thing. We talked about family beginning and being married, and it's 10 hours every day. Yeah. And so I haven't done one since then. So we got going into the CrossFit journey, and we're doing push-ups and pull-ups and benching and gymnastic stuff that I never did my entire life. Kipping pull-ups, kipping everything these things. And you do bar muscle ups, and they're like, hey, you gotta try this bar muscle up. And I remember getting my first bar muscle up, and I just tried to progress all the things, and jump roping with double unders.
It's a lot of new things.
Yeah. And I love the challenge. Okay. Anything new is gonna be hard, but the results are gonna be amazing.
How do you pace that out?
Yeah, so for us it was like, you really didn't have CrossFit. You don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
You can't do a muscle up, then all you're doing is chest to bar.
Yeah.
And if you can't get your chest to the bar, all you're doing is pull up. If you can't do a pull up, you're doing ring rows. And so CrossFit is designed in such a way where like if you can't do, let's say you can bench 250 pounds. If you can't bench 250 pounds, if I can't, well, there's enough weight from 0 to 250 that I can get to. And so for me, it was really simple. Like CrossFit will make you pace yourself. Like if you can't do it, if you can't do a double under, a jump rope with 2 rotations on the rope, then you can do a single. If you can't do a single, then you can jump up and down and tap your legs. Like there's a progression.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was able to just get in there and I went every morning at 9 a.m. I would drop my kids off for school and I would get in my car and I would fly back across town and every day, 9 a.m., 4 days a week, 5 days a week, and I started my day like that.
So what are your kids like? Do they enjoy watching dad working out?
Yeah, they like it. If I go in the garage and, we talked about that before, I have a box in my garage and I can do box jumps and I have a rig in there, I can do pull-ups and you can do push-ups, jump ropes, I have kettlebells. You can do anything you want in your garage. You don't have to have a gym membership to work out, which is what you talked about earlier.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
Have a gym in your garage.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think for me, like, they just liked it. They liked it. So they did our CrossFit gym did a kids camp.
Yeah.
My kids would go to the kids camp and they learned how to swing a kettlebell, how to do a wall ball, and how to do a clean. Like they did those things. They liked it, and they're more into sports. Yeah. My son we have a trampoline in our backyard. They like trampolines. Like they like fun. Working out is like, oh, let me go work out. They like to ride bicycles. Yeah. Up and down the hill, which is
they love challenges.
They
I
don't
love
mind.
when you guys are going home and your kids are running.
Yeah. I get out. I stop at the end of the street and they run. Up the street, which I just think it's cool that they want to do that. They like a challenge.
Yeah, and you just say this like. You're slow. Like, pick it up. Let's go.
I'm pushing them. Like, hey, you can do better. Because that's what this podcast is all about. Like, whatever you're doing, you should get better at it. Like, you shouldn't be status quo. I don't play golf. I don't hit as many golf balls as you do a week or a month. But I play enough golf. I'm good enough at golf to want to go back every month or to go back every couple of weeks. I'm not that bad where it's like I will never do. Like, I can go out there and play and not lose balls, and I can go out there and hit enough drives to be. I try to play bogey golf, and for me, if I'm under 90, if I'm in the 80s, I feel so good about that, and so I'm good enough to be that. I want to go out and do it, but it's like I want to get better at it, so I don't want to keep on hitting the same thing. Like if I hit a bad shot or if I can't get something dialed in right, I want to go back. I want to go to the range the next day and see if I can correct it, so that when I go the next time, I'll be a little bit better.
I think it's the best sport because your son's playing it, Trip's playing it.
Yeah.
How does he like it?
He likes it, and he's not like he likes everything.
Yeah.
I wish I could hone him in a little bit, but right now I'm like, hey, just try it all. It's a shotgun approach. You try this, and so
golf will always be there.
Exactly. So I feel like I wish he played more. We've launched this church. We've got 4 kids. It's just busy, so we go out of volleyball season. My daughter, when volleyball season's over, we go into soccer season with 3 kids. I've got a 9. He's almost 10, and I got 6-year-olds in soccer, and I'm helping coach one of those teams. And so it's like it's just a grind every day. So I think one day they'll lock into a sport. I don't know how much closer we're getting to that, but right now they're just
cool.
They're just trying everything.
Yeah, that's part 2 podcast. So stay tuned for 10 years down the road.
Let's go.
But yeah, man, that's awesome. We'll finish up here. What's kind of like the closing? What are you looking forward to 2021? Coming back from 2020, I know that was a harsh year. I'm sure for you personally and just as a national. What are you looking towards?
Yeah, well, I would say one of the things I've learned, and I don't know if I can give this advice to anybody, like the way you end a season determines how you start the next season. And we just tried to end that 2020 season so well. We walked into 2020 with our head up. Yeah. And there were seasons where we were knocked down, we were deflated. The Bible says that God's near to the brokenhearted. And I felt like, God, I am the brokenhearted. Like, there's a translation of that verse that says, if you feel like you've been punched in the gut, just know that God's right there. And I'm like, God, that is me. Yeah. And the racial divide, the political divide, we just kind of kept our head up the whole way through. Yeah. Keep your head up. Our goal is to keep your head up. Like, keep focused. I was home a lot with 4 kids, we're homeschooling in this playroom over here, and you know, we have a daughter on class, a son on class, twins on a class, and we're trying to run this church. I'm driving during the pandemic. I drove to Tampa every single week to preach my messages, and we would produce them there, and then we would throw them on live or on YouTube on Saturday night or Sunday morning. Yeah. But we just decided we were going to live this year the way we lived last year. Let's just keep our head up, and let's keep our eyes on Jesus, and let's keep on staying motivated, and let's keep on going, let's keep on crushing. But we had in a lot of things, it was really tough last year, but the Apostle Paul says this, a guy who wrote 2/3 of the Bible, he says this, count it a joy when you fall into tough times. And we just decided, like, hey, we just ended that season pretty well. Yeah. And so we're just looking forward to seeing the harvest that's going to come out of it. People are messaging us, hey man, we watched you guys online. We can't wait to get in those doors. And so we're really, I think this season, I'm really looking for a harvest season. I feel like we worked the ground last year well. I feel like we watered. I feel like we dug in deep. Yeah. And I feel like God's gonna bring. So we hired two full-time staff members in a pandemic. Wow. Like
that's when you're thriving.
Yeah, we know well. Like we last year we gave away 70,000 meals. Like we just did some incredible things that, you know, 70,000 meals was more meals than we gave away the first 4 years of our church. So that we did that in 1 year, what we did in 4 years, man. You know, we're looking for, I mean, we gave out hundreds of bags of food. People driving through the YMCA, handing food out the windows and giving away cold bottles of water in Jesus' name. And we gave away jackets, and we gave more last year than we've ever given all of our church. So two things that we're really hoping for is that we're just hoping for harvest. And we're portable now, so we're believing God's going to give us another location in 2021. Wow. Whether that's a permanent space where we move where we're at now into it, or whether it's to be a multi-site kind of thing where we're doing we're running one church but 2 locations. So those are 2 big things that we're looking for. We want to reap some. We feel like this is a harvest season. We really believe that, and we want to harvest what God's doing. And we want to reap all the benefits of all the hard working and all the toil, and then we believing that God's got more ground for us to take, and we want to take more ground in 2021.
You guys, what, 5 years in?
We're in this September will be 6 years, and so
5 years is kind of like the growth of, like, if you're trying to stick to something, 5 years is huge. That's the magic.
And that's what my buddy said. I believe this is gonna be a breakout year for you guys. Yeah. And we feel like every year is a breakout year. Like, we made it. Every year you make it. When you start a business or start a church or work out, if you do it for 5 years, most people don't make it 5 years in anything that they do. Yeah. And so marriages, you know, working out, life, raising a family, being faithful in your friendship circles, like people now, they used to stay in their house for 20 years, but now people buy houses every 5 to 7 years. It's like 5 is a huge number. So we're hoping for a breakout year this year.
Cool. Awesome. Man, Wes, I appreciate you coming on. The one thing I love about you, you're just an encourager. Like, you're just there. Thanks, like, social, and I think that's why we've connected so well throughout the years. Yeah. I mean, I did an interview with Coach Brandon Wallace, my track coach. Like, we haven't seen each other since high school, but through social, and we're just interacting. Like, you're always interacting. And, love that. But you always do well recovering and making sure you're okay. And I think that's really, for a pastor, that's super healthy, and that's going to be, whoever's around you is going to be healthy.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I love. I tell people all the time, like, I love humanity. Yeah. And I feel like it's got such a bad rap. There's so many people doing so many bad. I don't believe in bad people, but I believe there's a lot of good people doing bad things. Right. And I still believe, I still have hope. My friend said to me the other day, she's like, I still have hope for America. And I've lost hope a little bit. Sure. And I have hope for people. I have hope for humanity, and I love humanity. And so I love, if I can be an encouragement to any of your followers, podcast, YouTube, like, if I can encourage somebody, I feel like that's what we were.
Yeah, it's so simple.
And you're the same way. I message him all the time, like, bro, you got me to laugh. When you walked into, I'm like, when you knocked on my door, I was like, I cannot wait to open the door to see this guy. Like, and there are some people that they knock on the door, I'm like, oh, or they call me like, oh, or they text you like, oh. But dude, I'm sure you have down days, but you don't let the world see that. No. And I think the ones that in your inner circle, they know that your struggles, and I have them, but like, I think we're trying to give hope to people. Yeah. You can't post all the negativity. Right. We have negativities. We have frustration. We have all those things. But I just don't think posting that's going to help anybody. And so you're a great encourager. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me be a part of your story.
Yeah, absolutely. What can they find you? What can they get plugged in with you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and on Instagram. Instagram is @WestBeacham. Facebook is @WestBeacham. If you're looking for an online community, we have those. You can go to hopewintergarden.com and click on groups. And if you need anything, man, we're right around the corner, and we're wherever you're watching from. Will be worth the drive. But we like to think that we're worth the drive. And so, if you need anything, we're cheering for you guys and rooting for you guys, and hope you guys have an incredible season.
Cool. Well, then that's it, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Go mark your health. Chase Lions. Yeah, go crush it.
Sweet.